Ao Kuang.
You may know Ao Kuang as the Dragon King of the Eastern Seas, but that's not just because he's an Eastern god in terms of being Chinese. He is actually one of 4 dragons: Ao Kuang, the Azure Dragon who controls the East China Sea, Ao Qin, the Red Dragon who controls the South China Sea, Ao Shun, the Black Dragon who controls the North China Sea, now known as Lake Baikal, and finally Ao Run, the White Dragon who controls Lake Qinghai in the west. Each dragon is also associated with a certain season. Ao Kuang is spring, Ao Qin is summer, Ao Shun is winter, and Ao Run is autumn.
Know your enemy, know yourself, and victory will be assured.
Is Chang'e here yet?
Here I am, Hou Yi.
I'm gonna do these two together as much of what is known about them is intertwined and focused on their marriage and love. When 10 suns rose on the earth, burning the land and evaporating the oceans with their intensity, the godly archer Hou Yi stepped up and shot 9 of the 10 suns from the sky with his arrows, leaving only 1. However, each of these 10 sons were actually the sons of the Jade Emperor, and he was furious. He demoted Hou Yi and Chang'e to mortals and left them on the earth. Hou Yi went out in search of a potion that he claimed could grant immortality and return him and Chang'e to the heavens. Upon finding it, he returned home and left the elixir with Chang'e while he went out to hunt some food for the night. While he was gone, thieves fell upon his home, and fearing they would steal the elixir, Chang'e drank the entire bottle, meant for 2 doses, and not only became immortal, but ascended past the sky to land on the moon, where she remains trapped to this day. It is said that her only company is a jade rabbit, due to the dark markings on the moon looking like one. The jade rabbit is sometimes said to be grinding down ingredients in a pestle and mortar on the moon to create a new elixir of immortality to give to Hou Yi so that he can join Chang'e on the moon. In some depictions, Hou Yi is still waiting to see his love again, but in others he has game-ended himself over the grief of losing Chang'e.
What do you mean you're too busy? Don't you think I'm busy? I've got elixirs of the gods to make here.
Daji.
When Emperor Zhao of China grew an unrequited desire for Nüwa, she rejected him. He would not give up and would intrude on her bedchamber and leave lustful poetry for her and other really creepy shit that would not fly in current year. Nüwa, furious, gave form to a mischievous and powerful 9-tailed fox spirit to harass him and turn his life to misery. That spirit is Daji, and once unleashed, she burrowed metaphorical claws into the mind of Emperor Zhao, who became her puppet, so she could burrow her real claws into the mortals that followed him. She brought terror and ruin to the kingdom until the emperor was overthrown and Daji vanished into the night, perhaps awaiting her time to return and bring another era of torture and death.
You no longer control me, goddess.
Erlang Shen.
Erlang Shen is arguably one of the most powerful warriors not only in Chinese myth but across all mythologies. His spear, when swung with his godlike strength, can cleave through entire mountains like a hot knife through butter at 3 AM challenge. His 9 turns divine skill essentially makes him completely invulnerable with seemingly no limitations, even besting Wukong in a one-on-one fight in the Journey to the West. While his third eye, or the Eye of Heaven, can instantly determine truth from lies at a glance and fire beams of magical energy. This guy is no slouch, especially considering he's technically only a demigod, being the son of the Jade Emperor's sister and a mortal man.
With the fire of courage in our hearts, victory is assured.
Guan Yu.
Like many gods in Chinese myth, Guan Yu was originally mortal. He was a general serving in the military of the Han Dynasty under warlord Liu Bei. Guan Yu won many battles, but in the end his soldiers deserted him as their families had been captured back home. He was later captured himself and executed, but his spirit remained and a shrine was built to him. Such was his skill as a general and leader that mortals prayed to him for battles to come, and decades, perhaps centuries later, he ascended to godhood where he is now the legendary Saint of War.
Our deed shall be written in legend. Haba.
The Yellow River both sustains and destroys the people that call its banks home. It provides fertile land for crops to feed the growing population of China, while also flooding or changing course over time to destroy entire villages and towns that establish near it to take advantage of the fertile ground. Haba was once a mortal named Feng Yi who relied on this river, and when it flooded, destroying his town, he tied stones to his feet and waded into the water in a sort of ritualistic sacrifice. It was through this act of selflessness after his community was destroyed that Feng Yi ascended to godhood and became Haba, god of the Yellow River. It is said that he once followed the river all the way north to the North China Sea where he met Ao Shun, the Black Dragon. Haba was often prideful of his place guarding the life-sustaining Yellow River, but after seeing the vastness of the North China Sea, he was humbled. This mirrors the duality of the Yellow River itself.
Your fate, like a river, flows only in one direction.
Jingwei.
When Jingwei was young, she looked out longingly across the open ocean, wishing to go where the sun rose in the morning to see where it came from. Did it come from the ocean itself? She had to know. Her father forbade this as it was too dangerous, so Jingwei did what any teenager would do and did the exact opposite. She stole away in the night on a small boat to sail to the horizon and wait for the sun to rise at dawn. A storm ravaged the sea that night, and Jingwei's father, the Flame Emperor Yan Di, would awake at dawn to see the sun lighting the ruins of his daughter's ship broken on the rocky shore. As he grieved on the sand, Jingwei rose from the ocean as a phoenix, reborn with a solemn oath against the seas that took her life. She now sits on the shore throwing pebbles into the ocean one by one in hopes of filling it entirely. This is where Jingwei gets her title of Oathkeeper in-game.
I'm gonna beat you. Then I'm gonna go back to filling up that stupid Eastern Sea.
Hua Mulan.
Hua Mulan's father was old and her brother barely an infant when the conscription order came through from the emperor at the time. To save her father from being enlisted as the only serving age man in her family, Mulan dressed as a man and went into military service for over 12 years, where she won countless battles and the admiration of her fellow soldiers. She was offered a place in high command but turned it down to return to her family. Before leaving though, she revealed that she was actually a woman, and her dumbstuck comrades who had known her for 12 years as a man were stunned into silence. Pretty badass origin story, to be fair. Can't be in the military, so do it anyway, be one of the best at it, then quit to be with your family after being offered one of the highest ranking positions within China.
War is horrible and inevitable. It is a pity the chance for peace has slipped away yet again.
Nezha.
Mortals at the great waters of East, West, South, and North made sacrifices of food to the great Dragon Kings. This, however, did not satisfy Ao Kuang, Dragon King of the Eastern Seas. He demanded one boy and one girl be sacrificed, or he would bring great storms to the Eastern Seas. Nezha and two other children were playing on the banks of a nearby river when one of Ao Kuang's top generals came to abduct his two friends, one boy and one girl. Nezha slew the general to defend the children. When Ao Kuang heard of this, he raged and sent his third-born son, Ao Bing, to deal with the treacherous Nezha. The Lotus Prince slew Ao Bing in single combat, provoking the Dragon King to his limit. In order to make peace and appease Ao Kuang to not go after his family, Nezha sacrificed himself. He then appeared in a dream to his mother, instructing her to create a new temple to him. She did as instructed and the temple grew, and as did Nezha's faithful, as he performed miracles for those that visited the temple. After some time, Nezha was reborn with a body made from lotus flowers and gifted 2 new weapons alongside his Hamillary Sash and Universe Ring. He gained his fire-tipped spear and wind fire wheels.
Evil dragon, I beat you once and I'll do it again!
Nüwa.
It is said that Nüwa created all humanity. From the yellow clay, she handcrafted the noble class of, quote, good humans, while for the masses, she simply dragged a string through mud and left it to dry in the sun. This is the mythological explanation for both hierarchies in ancient China, with the nobles believing they are literally touched by a goddess, while the masses are just, and I quote, mud people. Don't take it up with me, take it up with ancient China, folks. This is also used to explain the imperfections of mankind. Those that are born disabled or die in childbirth or are vulnerable to disease were the mass-produced mud babies of Nüwa, while the top of society such as generals and of course emperors supposedly have no imperfections and are resistant to, or in some cases impervious to, disease and disability. Again, take it up with the Shang dynasty, not me.
The warring of gods has endangered these lands. I must keep the balance.
Son Wukong.
Wukong's iconic cudgel that he is depicted with in Smite and many other art adaptations of his story, The Journey to the West, arguably one of the most famous mythological works of all time, well, this cudgel is called the Ryu Jingubang, and it was in the possession of Ao Kuang, who used it to control the tides of the Eastern Sea. Wukong came to Ao Kuang seeking a weapon for his legendary journey. As it was believed that no one could lift the Ryu Jingubang, Ao Kuang laughed at the proposal that Wukong take it on his journey. To Ao's surprise though, he lifted it with ease and even spun it around in the air several times. Wukong also essentially stole, through intimidation, plenty of other supplies like armor, food, and shoes for the journey from Ao Kuang, leaving the great Dragon King of the Eastern Seas humiliated.
You do talk big, don't you, little immortal?
Xing.
The War of the Three Emperors raged in China. Xing, commanding general of the Flame Emperor's regime, was defeated by the Yellow Emperor's forces and returned in defeat, but unbroken. He mustered any remaining forces he could and laid siege to the Yellow Emperor's Sky Palace, during which he fought the Yellow Emperor in single combat atop a mountain. The Emperor's blade struck true and beheaded Jingchen, sending him careening down the mountain to the base. Years or perhaps decades later, Jingchen awoke with a new head burned into his chest and fought with an even greater fury. Man is straight up an upper rank demon from Demon Slayer, got beheaded and still lives, what a chad.
Know the enemy and know yourself. You need not fear the result of 100 battles.
Yu Huang.
In Chinese myth, the title of Jade Emperor is just that, a title. The exact person holding that title is up for debate, but it is said that Yu Huang spent over 1,000 years training and meditating in a cave sealed off from the world, only to emerge at just the right time to ascend to heaven and slay a mighty demon king that had been amassing an evil force to conquer China. It was in this battle that Yu Huang ascended to godhood and became the Jade Emperor, essentially the supreme divine ruler of the gods.
These arrogant gods do not know their place. I must show them the error of their ways.
Zhonghui!
Much like many Chinese deities, Zhonghui was a mere man who ascended to godhood via game-ending himself. He was a famed and well-read scholar that aced the Emperor's imperial examinations, essentially a set of tests to prove you are worthy to serve and defend the Emperor. However, despite acing these tests, the Emperor looked upon his face at the ceremony and cast out Zhonghui so as to never look at him again. Zhonghui then threw himself repeatedly at the gates of the Emperor's palace until his body was broken, and his soul fell into the pits of hell. But where the Emperor saw vile ugliness, the King of Hell saw potential, and enlisted Zhonghui as a demon hunter to guard and ward away demons wherever they might arise. Yo mama's so ugly, she literally scares demons, god damn. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I get a ton of requests to do more lore videos, and I felt this format is a good balance between depth and brevity. Let me know which pantheon I should cover next. I'm thinking Norse, Greek, or Egyptian, but if you have a specific pantheon you want to hear stories from next, let me know down below. Don't forget to drop a like before you leave, and I'll catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.